My name is Genece Grisby, and I am the 2023 North American Our World Underwater Scholar. I had been awarded this amazing opportunity towards the end of my final year at university, and the timing couldn't have been more perfect. I've always loved the ocean and learning about everything within it, but at this point in my life, I still felt very new to the world of marine science and diving. Suddenly having endless opportunities open to me, I knew I could take advantage of this year to not only build a solid foundation in the underwater world, but to also explore the different pathways I could take in the future. To be able to dedicate an entire year purely focused on my curiosities and interests is a huge privilege and a dream come true. Before starting my journey, I had key pillars in mind to focus on. I wanted to work with coastal communities, develop a solid foundation in diving, contribute to marine megafauna conservation, and finally, develop my personal skills overall. With these pillars constantly in the back of my mind, I was ready to begin this huge adventure. Having never left the country before, I decided to jump right in and fly all the way across the Pacific to meet Marty Snyderman and the Atlantis image makers to develop my skills in underwater photography. We stayed at the Atlantis Dive Resort in Dumaguete, where we were able to dive up to 6 times a day with the one task of taking photos. Going to the Philippines, I experienced a lot of firsts. First time in a new country, first time in the tropics, and first time diving with what felt like a gigantic camera rig. At first, it was a bit of a challenge for me, but I slowly but surely worked my way up to diving with my full setup. And after learning about aperture, shutter speed, and exposure, by the end of the trip, I was more confident in my underwater imagery. Developing the skill in such a new place, I was inspired to try and capture almost everything that I saw. At least everything that would stay still long enough. I was able to experiment largely with macro photography and video and better understand how to approach animals, get the right angle, and get the shot. Despite the learning curve, learning about underwater photography was really fun. During one of my last days in Dumaguete, I ended up going to Oslo Cebu to see the local whale sharks. I didn't know this at the time, but this one experience would shape more of what I wanted to do later this year. I've always had an interest in shark and human interactions, as well as an interest in learning more about ecotourism and its potential role in conservation. So in my mind, this trip was an excellent introduction to all of that. Beforehand, I saw these conservation efforts to be a unification of human and shark interactions with a high respect for nature. Unfortunately, there were some stressful moments during this trip, and it wasn't always as it had appeared in the media that I've seen before. However, I hope to keep learning and gain a better understanding of the positive and negative impacts of ecotourism in the near future. Leaving the Philippines, I found myself staying within the Coral Triangle and on my way to Arbrick Island in Raja Ampat, Indonesia, where I fell in love with its community and marine life. I was originally invited by Gita Anastasia to work with MORA, an organization empowering island women in ocean conservation and ecotourism. I truly admired their mission and wanted to work with them any way that I could. Unfortunately, this was my first bit of traveling where I got incredibly sick and I wasn't able to follow through with these initial plans. Nonetheless, I still took advantage of this time. I had officially been away from home for a full month, still experiencing new countries and meeting new people, and walking around the island, I saw a whole sense of community I had never experienced before. I was welcomed everywhere I went and was treated like a friend. Luckily, right before I left, I was able to get in the water and experience some of the best diving ever. For the first time, I was able to see the beauty up close of manta rays and see some of the healthiest coral reefs. Even diving right off the dock was breathtaking. As I continue my year, I still think about my time on Arbrick, and I hope to come back to such a beautiful place. My next stop was to UC Davis's Bodega Marine Lab to take an AAUS scientific diver course. I have been wanting to complete this course for over a year now, and being able to take it in such a familiar place was amazing. The first portion of the course took place in Bodega Bay, California, where we spent a week immersed in lectures, honing our dive skills, and navigating through rescue scenarios. We supported each other, assisting with drills and diving concepts whenever necessary. The majority of the drills and exercises we did here were entirely new to me, and this was another experience where I encountered yet another learning curve. However, I persevered and overcame these challenges. The final week of the course took place in South Lake Tahoe, California, and here our main focus was completing any final checkout dives and assisting California state parks in locating nearby wrecks. It was a really cool way to jump right into our scientific diving careers. When not diving during our time here, we were able to enjoy group dinners, lively conversations, and music by the fire. It was a lovely trip, minus some slight inconveniences. Overall, being surrounded by nature and waking up to such a stunning place was an incredible experience, and happy to have a new certification under my belt, I was eager to keep working towards my goals and continue with my year. On my final stop before DEMA, I headed to La Paz in Baja California, Mexico. I stayed here a month, exploring new dive sites, practicing my Spanish, and working primarily with Whale Shark Mexico, an NGO based in La Paz that focuses on conservation, education, and the sustainable management of whale sharks. When I first started volunteering here, we initially weren't able to do much due to Hurricane Norma rolling in. The port was closed for a few days, and we were stuck inside as it passed. After the storm, there was a lot of debris near the ocean, and before jumping back into the water, we made sure to help out with cleanup where we could. Once the water cleared up, we got right back to work. On our boat days, we would spend hours searching for whale sharks all along La Paz Bay. If one was spotted, we would get in the water and do a full workup, which included taking photos, getting measurements, documenting injuries, etc. We would later upload this data to a local and global database. After the whale shark season is over, this organization focuses primarily on whale shark injuries and will present their findings to the Mexican government to discuss how laws can change to prevent this species from being injured in the future. It was so wonderful finally spending more time with these sharks, and throughout my year, I hope to continue learning more about human and shark interactions from a commercial, scientific, and tourist perspective. As I reflect on the past few months, I have met amazing people, have seen beautiful things, and I feel myself growing as an individual and as a diver. Keeping my key pillars and goals in mind, I'm excited to see what else I can achieve during the second half of my year. While eagerly looking forward to everything the future may hold, in the much nearer future, after attending DEMA, I plan on driving up to Oregon to receive my dry suit certification thanks to Faith Ortiz, DUI, and Halcyon for their generous equipment donations. I also hope to continue developing my underwater videography and freediving skills with Performance Freediving International and the ITI family, as well as continue diving with sharks with Christina Zanato and learning more about how they act in their natural environment. I hope that these experiences pave the way for my future career in conservation and marine science so that I can give back to others. Thank you so much to everyone who has followed me and supported me so far into my journey. It means the world to me.